Let's spin the wheel and make a deal! Who will present this morning's Cultaholic news video? Who's it gonna be? It's slowing down. Your presenter is Adam Pacitti! Oh, bollocks. Let's take a look at the headlines. NXT are bringing back a popular gimmick in just a couple of weeks' time. A top AEW star has announced he's been cleared to return, and John Cena has gotten married. Oh, we'll talk about it in a bit. So first up, it was announced during last night's NXT that the Yellow Brand is bringing back a classic WCW gimmick as part of Halloween Havoc in just a couple of weeks' time. And seeing that news intro that you just saw, you'll never guess what it is. Go on, I'll give you a second. That's right, Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal is returning to our screens, and I am truly buzzing about this. Genuinely, I love Halloween Havoc as it is. It's one of my favorite WCW pay-per-views. I think it's got a great aesthetic, and it's just a bit of fun, and I think that's what we're going to see in a couple of weeks' time. If you're unfamiliar with Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal, first of all, get on the WWE network and sort yourself out. But if you're a younger fan, it debuted at the 1992 Halloween Havoc for a match between Sting and Jake Roberts, and it was a coal miner's glove match, and it was every bit as brilliant as it sounds there. It's great. It's so much fun. And that match is on the wheel that we saw yesterday. We saw a digital version of the wheel. That's one of the options. We don't know if these are the final options, but I would assume they are. The other ones on there, you've got a trick or street fight, which is it's a hardcore match with some silly, spooky weapons, isn't it? A blindfold match, a casket match, a Chamber of Horrors match, a biker's chain match, a buried alive match, a boiler room brawl, please, a Shotzi's Choice match, Weapons Wild, Devil's Playground. And I said, there are a few on there that just sound like variations of hardcore matches, of course. But the Devil's Playground, I was like, wait, Devil's Playground? Didn't they used to call Hell in a Cell the Devil's Playground? And I was like, they're not going to do a Hell in a Cell match, that's for sure. I don't think we'll actually see this one. So I Googled it anyway. I was like, what is this Devil's Playground bollocks? And all I could find from some E-Fed, some like fantasy wrestling thing, was the Devil's Playground match has been known as one of the most deadly matchups in pro wrestling history. The match contains a ring of 3 to 6 superstars for 5 minutes without the cage surrounding the ring, giving the stars around 4.5 minutes to obtain any item to cause physical harm on the other competitors, and then at the 4-minute 45 count, a buzzer begins to play which represents the cold cage to start lowering at 5 minutes. Then the cage is completely lowered, and any superstar not in the ring at the 5-minute mark will be disqualified. After the lowered cage is surrounding the ring, the match restarts. Then elimination is instated with any superstars in the ring. The winner is granted when he pins or submits the final opponent. So I assume that'll be it. Probably, it sounds awful. That won't be it. That won't be it. Anyway, we've got 2 matches that are going to utilize the stupid big wheel as part of it. I don't know why I called it stupid, though. It's great. They're 2 matches, and they're both takeover rematches. First of all, the NXT North American Championship will be on the line once again. Damian Priest defending against Johnny Gargano, which actually I'm really happy to see because I think they had one of the best matches on the card. In fact, it was a really strong takeover anyway, but they have tremendous chemistry together. And Damian Priest as champion, I'm so into. He feels like a proper champion, and he just gets better and better. He's a guy who improves every single week. The other match on the card, utilizing the wheel, is Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Again, a match that I really enjoyed at TakeOver. Up for seeing it again. We've got one more match, which at the moment isn't utilizing that big wheel. Big stupid wheel, but it's strong enough on name value alone as far as I'm concerned. Really looking forward to this. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez, and yeah, there's a lot to get excited about. Get the cat excited. I think I'm probably gonna do live reactions to it because I'm such a big fan of Halloween Havoc. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. See you before that. It's my job. Next up, sticking with NXT, a title match has been announced for next week's show. The tag titles are going to be on the line as Breezango defend against the Undisputed Era's Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, who won their match last night for the honor of challenging for the gold. I actually think this is going to be more of an angle than it is a match. Don't get me wrong, I think we'll still get a match out of it because it's NXT, but they were really pushing the narrative yesterday that Ridge Holland, who of course attacked Adam Cole at TakeOver and then got injured just a few days later, the worst possible timing, but they were pushing the idea that he had been paid or convinced to attack Adam Cole, and who's responsible? And with the reports circulating that Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish might be remaining heel while Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole go babyface, and maybe a potential split in the Undisputed Era, I think we'll probably see some storyline development here. Perhaps. Who knows? It might just be a really bloody lovely wrestling match. The other thing that has been sort of set up is Xia Li. She went to William Regal and said, oh, fancy a match next week. And he went, oh, I'll take it under consideration, which we all know means that she's going to get a match next week. Of course she is. It's wrestling TV. Speaking of wrestling TV, it was announced during last night's wrestling TV show, AEW Dynamite, that's the worst segue ever. Worse than Matthews on the podcast. Matt Hardy has been cleared to return. This is obviously fantastic news. Matt Hardy took a really rough fall at All Out in his match with Sammy Guevara, and then the match continued, which led to a huge amount of controversy and criticism toward AEW, understandably, because they allowed the match to continue. So he hasn't been getting especially physical since that point, but he's been cleared to return now. So he announced that, and then it was revealed that Sammy Guevara was behind a backstage attack on Matt Hardy, which I think a lot of us expected anyway. So the feud's going to continue, and that's the sensible thing to do at this point. Hopefully it's a bit safer this time around. Matt Hardy started teasing the match at Full Gear, perhaps, on Twitter, which I think is the sensible place for it as well. I wouldn't expect Matt Hardy to get in any, or to be involved in any really lengthy matches, just to play it safe up until Full Gear, but that's a little while away, so maybe he will. But I'm well up for that match, and yeah, do it on a bouncy castle or something this time around, lads. And finally, huge congratulations to one Jonathan Cena and his new wife, Shay Shariatzadeh. It was reported yesterday that they have tied the knot in a ceremony in Tampa Bay earlier this week, and I don't think many of us saw this coming. Get it? Get it? Because you can't see classic wrestling comedy. I love it. Apparently they got married on Monday in Tampa. E! News writing, at this time, there are very few details on the top secret ceremony. They started dating last year in early 2019, and they filed for a marriage certificate in Florida in early October. I don't know a great deal about Shay Shariatzadeh. It's written here, TMZ, saying Shay was born in Iran but is a Canadian citizen. She works as a product manager for a tech company in Vancouver. This is the second time, of course, that Cena has got married. And yeah, just huge congratulations to them. I don't want to, like, everybody online is going about, oh, well, he didn't marry Nikki and all this stuff. But I don't think we should be focusing on any of that bollocks. Let's focus on the fact that from what I've seen a few like red carpet interviews and stuff with Cena, he just seems ridiculously happy. He's having a whale of a time. And he's also the new voice for Honda. So huge news there as well. He wrote on Twitter yesterday, we define who we are when we persevere in the face of obstacles. It's such a John Cena tweet. Proud to be the new face of Honda, starting with this message that encourages people to rise to the challenge, by which he means rise to the challenge of buying a Honda. Massive congratulations to you, Jonathan. In fact, before we go, one more little story. Finn Balor sharing a bit of an injury update, or rather a picture of himself. He's really messed up at the moment. Obviously, he got hurt in that match, broken jaw in two places during the match with Kyle O'Reilly at TakeOver. And he shared this picture. So, looking well. Poor bastard, honestly. He looks like the, that Halloween episode, the Halloween horror episode of The Simpsons, with the frog in the classroom that's like vomiting everywhere. That's what I thought when I saw him. And that's I don't mean to be horrible, because obviously he's a ridiculously good-looking man, just not at the moment. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Finn, get well soon, mate, and congratulations, Cena, and everything else we've talked about. Take care. See you in a bit.